7:30 screening. That's where the cool people are, right? What an incredible film. I am so excited to introduce to you the director of this film, lead actor for this film, and our moderator for the evening, Anita Sarkeesian, is going to do a sort of larger introduction to them. But again, we just want to, encourage you to attend as many of these kinds of screenings as you can, because this is really where you show your support for female filmmakers, for women behind the camera, and women doing incredible work in front of the camera as well. So I'm going to turn it over to our moderator for the evening, cultural critic, founder of Feminist Frequency, Anita Sarkeesian, who will introduce director Audrey Diwan and lead actor Anamaria Vartolomei. Je m'excuse, I'm sure I got your name correct.
Yeah. Sure did it.
We invited ourselves.
Diane.
Hi everyone.
Hey, Diane.
We've gone on a back-to-back Q&As, same theater. Well, thanks for being here. So, I wanted to start, one of the things, we're going to talk about abortion, but one of the things that I think is really interesting about this is how much, desire is a part of this story, and I think that often that's not when we talk about reproductive rights and sexual health. And so, can you talk a little bit about the different ways that desire played out, why that was important for you to include in the story?
I never intended to make a movie about legal abortion. When I read the book, it was after having an abortion myself and I wanted to read about the topic, but what I kept in mind, what was the stronger in my mind, I've been reading Annie Ernaux for years and I love the character. I think that I really appreciate the way she talks about her sexual desire, her intellectual desire. She comes from a working class and she's going to the more bourgeois university. And then one day she's even ready to say out loud, I want to be a writer. So it's a global quest for freedom. And on this way, she has to have an illegal abortion. That's the way I portrayed it in my head. So of course, desire is the very beginning of the story. And then I always believe that when you talk about something very intimate and you do it in an honest way, then somehow it becomes political. And that's the feeling that I had reading the book. Plus the book starts when, and this is political, the book starts when the decision has already been made. So you are not in front of a girl who hesitates, and it's not a moral problem she's facing. She has made a decision, and we see her going through this way with determination.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was such an interesting opening, and also how she expresses desire even kind of in some ways in retaliation to what's happening to herself and just being in the world, and both of her friends as well have different ways of showing it, and the tension that happens between a world in which women's desires are not allowed or not supposed to be. So desire is also very bodily, right? It's very carnal, and this movie is so much about bodies. I think you used a lot of really interesting filmmaking techniques to show that. Can you talk a little bit about those choices that you made and how you came to them?
Yeah, so my question was how not to watch her but try to be her. And so if you're right, we use many techniques. The first idea, and to me it's very important, is choosing this facial ratio, because then I am not making a period piece, and I focus on what's important to me, so her and her body. But then to have the feeling that we are her, you have a whole crew. So of course Anamaria has a lot on her shoulders because I don't cut that much. So, and it's important because if you do something very shortly, if she says that, if I ask her to show you that she's in pain, it will take 2 seconds and everybody gets it, but you don't feel it. If she managed to do it for a longer period of time, if we keep rolling, then you will start feeling what she feels. But then if you go too far that way and you keep rolling for too long, then you become provocative. So we were looking for the right length of every sequence. And then the whole crew has to work at the same time on that idea. So she's working and the DP has to be her shadow, you know. So they were moving as if they were dancing together. And then you have the guy in charge of the focus. So whenever she turns her head and look at someone, the focus guy has to focus on at the exact time when she turns her head on the person she's looking at. So it's everybody on the team working together as an orchestra.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I feel like in acting there's a lot of vulnerability just in general, but watching this, I was thinking so much about how much you have to be in the space and your body is present. Like, what did that mean for you in terms of, like, did it feel like a different experience for you in acting from your other experiences? Like, what did you kind of gain from this?
I actually think that the character gave me much more than I did. I think that she's such a strong and confident and, you know, independent woman that I tried to steal those things from her, and I think that I started the shooting as a young lady and I finished it as a woman because I grew up so much while filming it. And I think that also as an actress was very liberating for me because I think that working with Audrey was really, it was something new. It was the first time I was that much involved in the creative process of the movie. It was that much the first time that I had the the space and time to dare and try and search with somebody that believes in, that trusts me and believes in my skills and my work. And it also allowed me at the end of the shooting to say that I need to think and feel free and that I'm able to do many things that I didn't thought I was before.
Yeah, sure. Well, so I think in recent times we're learning more about like intimacy coordinators and how to create sets that feel safer for actors. And I'm curious, like, how I'm curious how you created an environment where you,
I don't like the idea.
No, okay,
No.
Can you talk about that? Like, how did you create an environment
because
where?
I truly believe this is my job, you know. And so I have to take care of my actors, and there is one thing I want to say about everything related to sex, by the way. It has to want to tell something. I've been a screenplay writer and I've read lots of screenplay for producers, and this is the only moment where the writers stop writing. So if you write a dinner, people are having dinner, we all agree that we will know what's going on that dinner, right? For some reason that I don't get, sometimes the writer said, and then they have sex. This you don't want to direct. Because then you have naked people and you say, have sex. And that's the beginning of lots of problems. But on the other side, if you consider that body tells stories, which I do, then you have something to say through bodies. So it's not sex, it's a story we tell through bodies. So basically when we did the sixth scene in the movie, so I have two young actors and the girls who want to tell the boy how to reach our own pleasure, because this was the whole idea of the desire is that first of all they just talk about it, then you've got an image, then you've got the girl who shows how to masturbate to reach her own pleasure, and then she is ready to do it and ready to say, yeah, I want to reach my own pleasure. So I didn't think it was that awkward, okay? Yeah, okay, we're naked, but we've seen naked body in our lives, okay? So if they feel confident, if they trust me, and I trust them, and we are only talking about ideas and how to reach the meaning, I don't think there we have a problem.
And as an actress, I think that if you start involving other people in those scenes, it means that you don't really treat them as the other one. You know what I mean? Like,
So you're not playing. It's something. I understand why it exists, but you're right. It can be even more awkward because why would it be different? So are we not playing? But we do understand that it happened so many terrible things in the past. you're going to play Maria Schneider in the next movie, you know, in the movie she's going to do in the beginning of the next year. And this is one of the worst stories that I've heard on a shooting, you know, a girl being raped on screen. And everybody thinks that last time we were in Paris, okay? So this young actress actually is being raped in front of everybody. So we all know that monstrous things happened. But we are another generation, and first of all, when I direct actors, I'm not a puppet master. And I don't try to steal anything from the actors. We are hand in hand trying to reach and grab something together. So we have the same horizon, and we try to figure out how we're going to get there together.
I do think that there is a generational thing happening around these kinds of issues on set and what it means to care for your actors and care, and that's an interesting perspective in terms of like what you do and feeling the responsibility of that care. And because some of these scenes are really hard to watch, I can only imagine having to like perform them over and over again. So I want to move into a little bit of like the larger topic of abortion in filmmaking. So there have been more, this is I think a lovely, a wonderful addition to more recent movies that have come out around abortion, like Always, Sometimes, Rarely, Never, and I'm Pregnant, which is both about, very explicitly about abortion. And how do you feel like these films are working towards supporting abortion rights, or supporting activists who are doing this kind of work to make abortion safe and legal?
So when making the movie, I had in mind that I didn't want it to tell people what to think. But if we have to go through the debate again, I think that at least we should know what we're talking about. And when I read the book, I discovered how much, I mean, I had lack of knowledge considering what really is illegal abortion. So if we want to say if we are pros or against, then we have to point out carefully and not to look away to what it really is, you know. So, and then it's very strange because when I started working on it, not before I even started writing, I was asking myself whether I should do a movie or not, considering that Moonju, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, has already made a great movie that says a lot about illegal abortion, but okay, it says a lot, but it's under a church in Romania, and I'm talking about another story set in France in 1963. But I was raised thinking that we should not talk too much about it. So I think that now we have to work against silence, because silence is the best weapon of people who don't want the world to change. I was raised not to talk about it. My brother was raised thinking that it's not exactly his matter, you know. We were all raised in a way that today we have to change our own perspective, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now in America, abortion is technically legal, but it's all but impossible to get in a lot of places. How has the reaction been to the film here in America versus in France, or have you noticed a difference?
Yes, because we can feel the hurt here. You can feel that you all watch our journey thinking about the other woman that actually will be in the same situation in the next months if Roe versus Wade changes, but also sort of can't find nowadays doctors to help them, because we all know, I mean, Italy, for instance, technically they're supposed to get abortion because it's legal, but it's not true. I mean, there are no more doctors who want to do it. And when a girl shows up to the doctor, they say, you really want to do that? Think carefully, you know? So it's not that easy, because there is the law and then there is mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. How much time do we have? Should we do questions? Yeah? Yeah. Are there questions from the audience?
Feel free. You don't often get the opportunity to talk to filmmakers.
I'm just blown away by the performance and the direction, and just hearing you talk about it. It's just I was going through it myself. That, and I don't think I've ever experienced that in a film. Was like I was so shook up, you know. But I guess my question is, you know, so we never saw who she has sex with. You know, we never saw that. So I'm sure that was a choice.
At some point, you saw the guy, you know.
Right, but it wasn't like.
We don't see it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's very interesting that when it starts from the beginning of the story. It's when she decides
Yeah.
she has already decided, which is kind of political, you know, not watching a girl hesitating, and it would have made the movie be some kind of a moral question, and it's not. We used to call Anne on the setup as the soldier, so she's on her own battlefield, and she tried to actually, be free.
And I guess one question for you is, I mean, there's so many difficult scenes, you know. Was there one that stuck out to you as being like the most challenging as an actor?
Well, as we didn't rehearse the body pain scenes, right on set I was very scared because I thought that what if I don't succeed, or what if it doesn't work, what if I disappoint her? And she came to sweep all my fears away because she guided me, and she guided my breath, and she helped me to abandon myself in the scene and to let things go and to just forget about myself and to not think too much about it, but just let the character arouse. And I think that these scenes were actually pretty liberating because at some point she likes to do many shots, and I understand, but I understood that.
Okay, that's true.
It actually helps for those scenes because the more you do it, the more you kind of, I don't know how to say it,
Yeah, you empty yourself.
yeah, so the things that you used to think about at the beginning, for example, where do I have to sit, or where do I have to, when do I have to say that sentence or something, it just disappear, and you're living the moment, you know, you're not just playing it, you're just living the thing, and
But that's great.
yeah, but yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
Actually, the hardest scene was the abortion scene because she was so detailed in the book. I didn't really refer to the book. I tried to concentrate more on the script and to create my own character based on that. But the scene was so detailed that I read on set, I wasn't afraid by that scene at first because I thought, well, I know what I have to play, and I start and it doesn't work. I started to cry.
No, yeah.
Actually, yeah, because
Yeah, but this wasn't your fault.
No, but
I made a mistake. I thought, like, she's in pain, she's gonna shout. And we tried that, and it didn't work. It didn't feel right, so then, and it's stressy because, you know, there are some things in a screenplay that everybody waits for on set. So the whole crew, there is some kind of special atmosphere when you arrive on set the day where you have to do the sequence.
Yeah.
So it's very stressful for the actors, of course. And everybody waits for some kind of an emotional miracle to happen. So it's a lot of pressure to deal with.
And it took some time. I mean, this scene, but once again, we did a sort of mirror game together. She was standing in front of me, and we searched for the breathing of the character together, so she could see what it looks like, and I could actually see what she wanted from me, and we
actually reversed the process. Like instead of shouting, what if she's like in a lack of oxygen, and she's gonna faint? So try to do this, you know. So yeah, I do it, she does it too, and we search together until we have the feeling that it's the right thing to do.
You mentioned that you didn't do rehearsals for this scene. Was that intentional?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she didn't want to mechanize the scene, and I don't like to rehearse them. As I said, it's about feelings, and it's not about a long dialogue scene where you have to analyze the meaning of each sentence is about feelings, and I believe in magic that only happens between action and cut, so it would have made no sense to need to rehearse them.
Plus, I think that there is no insurance when you create. So you have to be at risk. You have to believe you will be able to do it. And then if you don't, then find another idea. And you edit in another way. And certainly some kind of new story is coming out of it. But it's always meant for a reason. So yeah, sometimes you'll discover that it's badly written.
Yeah, I assure you we are professionals. We don't rehearse, we don't have people to
And we randomly end up here.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was absolutely stunning. The cinematography is ridiculous. I don't know, like, I'm just like sitting here, still staring at the screen, hoping it comes back on.
Thank you.
I am curious though, since you don't rehearse or do not rehearse at all, how did you guys build this trust? There's clearly so much trust and just affection between you that probably gave you such a raw and vulnerable performance. So as a director, I'd love to know how you got to that place.
We talked a lot. I mean, we built something in our minds, and first of all, the shooting was a bit postponed because of the lockdown. So we spoke together one day or two, and exchanged references both sides. So we talked about Fish Tank from André Arnaud, Rosetta from The Dardennes Brother was very important to us, Vagabond from Agnès Varda, but also Elephant, Girl from Lucas Dont, many movies, in order to first find a common language. And then we also talk about the meanings of every sequence. So the most important to me is to build something before, but to build something around the meaning. So we know what's important when we start shooting, and day after day, I have the feeling that we can't exactly get lost. We will have surprise. Of course, you don't make a movie before you make a movie. I don't believe in that idea. And the thing is, my first movie, I have closely think about everything I wanted to see on screen. And at the end, I was disappointed because it was exactly what I expected to be, and not more. So yeah, you have to do the journey, and you have to, be a bit scared all the time, and create and invent things, and be free to do it day after day on the set.
So you didn't shortlist? Is that what I'm to understand as well? Did you shortlist the film, or did you find it with your DP?
La liste des plans.
No, at all. No, I didn't shoot it. I don't even know how to do that.
It's a wild west over here. Yeah, we got one more question. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I love the image as well. I think it was crazy, so good. You have this idea of like having her almost every shot and on screen. Was it like the thing you had in mind from the beginning and like all the shots, or more like you built it with the DP? Like how did you work? That you work with everyone? Like just how did you work this image?
I wanted this to be like that from the beginning. It was always the same idea, like how try to be her. So to me, writing and having the movie in mind both come together, somehow. And then if you try to think how to create this experience, you are not only thinking about the image, but also the sound. So what she focuses on when she's in her mind, when she focuses on what somebody else says, when she's not, So I had many thoughts about how to create this experience, and of course, once again, you have your ideas, and then you explore, and then you discover on set that there are other things that you can use. And I don't know, there is one thing I really carefully worked on. I made a 35 pages document for the focus guy. I'm not quite sure he ever read it. But still, I had the feeling that I have done my job. No, but honestly, this was very important because she somehow is the camera because it's through her eyes.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna point at, and it was even important for the girl who is the set designer because she knows. Okay, we're gonna focus on this more than that. And as I said, we were poor, so you need to clearly say what you're gonna focus on because you can't have everything when you don't have money.
And that was very precise in the abortion scene because first the focus was there and then on her.
Yeah. And so when she put the I don't know the name.
No, moi non plus.
The hook.
The hook. Why not? Yeah, we both Anamaria and Anamaria, the other actress Anamaria, knows whenever the focus is going from there to there. So it also happened that I speak to the focus guy during the sequence, which is even harder for her because she has to keep focusing while I say, Jean-Christophe, change your focus.
She said.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think we are out of time, unfortunately, but I wanted to thank you for making such an incredibly brave and powerful film.
I would have many questions, but I was curious, did you have any interesting feedback from men who have seen the movie? Because I think for women it's so easy to
You can't imagine. First of all, lots of them in France fainted.
Oh.
It's actually true.
And France, the slogan of the movie, slogan, that's how you say, and the
Log line.
Call 911. How are you gonna say?
It's like one ticket bought, one sugar offer.
No, we're making jokes, but no, really, like lots of men told us, like we had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
And I clearly
Yeah,
remember
in France.
one guy one night said he's a strong militant,
Mm-hmm.
and he really worked against Vietnam and for the extreme left side, and he said that night, now I just realized that I missed one part of my militant life as I've never fought for women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
And he was strongly sad about it, and I can tell. So yes, I had very strong and powerful reaction from the men. And I would love to go to thank all the genders, right?
Yeah,
for being there.
I mean, for women it's easier to emphasize. I think.
Yeah, but they even said like I have pain in my belly, so you know it's the magic of cinema. It goes through other experiences than yours.
It's our men who make laws about this, you know. So this congratulations for.
As we know very well here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.